7 reasons why most businesses fail. In this video, I just want to outline some of the reasons why most businesses fail. And if your business has failed, check some of these reasons. If you want to start a business, check some of these reasons also, so that you don't fall into a trap of failing through these 7 reasons. Reason number one why most businesses fail is because the person that starts the business has fear of failure or fear of success. I wasn't even familiar before of fear of success, but I've realized that a lot of people fear success. They fear the fact that, once you become successful, you have to change. For you to become successful, you have to grow. For you to become successful, you might have to spend time alone. For you to become successful, you have to step out of your comfort zone. So a lot of people are afraid of coming out or stepping out of their comfort zone. They're afraid of being alone. They're afraid of that separation and changing. So being afraid of that can basically make your business fail, because you don't want to change. You don't want to spend the time necessary for you to grow the business, to study the business, to learn how to grow the business. And fear of failure also, where a lot of people are afraid to be criticized. They're afraid of losing money. So if you fail, you're going to be criticized. If you fail, you're going to lose money. If you fail, you might not be able to make a living. So fear of not making a living also is making a lot of people quit their businesses, because they start a business, but now comes security or a job. Then they start thinking, hey, what if I'm not able to sustain myself? What if I'm not able to keep on making the same money that I'm making already? So they quit their businesses. And their businesses end up failing. So that's reason number one why most people fail, or why most businesses fail, is because of that fear of failure or fear of success. The second reason why most businesses fail is because of the fact that in the beginning there's a lot of tasks, there's a lot of things to do. If you think about, if you're working now, if you're an employee, they give you a certain task for the company, but if you have a business, all the tasks at the beginning are yours. So you are in charge of the marketing, you are in charge of directing the vision of the company, you are in charge of the branding, you are in charge of sales, you are in charge of distribution, you're in charge of so many things in the business. So a lot of people, or a lot of businesses, end up failing because the person that starts the business has a lot of things to do at the beginning. So it might feel like you're taking too much on your plate. It might feel like you're having a lot to do on your business, especially if you're starting off. But I want to tell you this: you can start working, but take it one step at a time. You might even end up delegating at the end of the process, or at the middle of the process, or a year later, or 6 months later. But at the beginning, you have to know the processes yourself. You have to know the distribution, so that when you hire someone in distribution, you know what they're doing and how they can do, and if they're doing a better job than you. You might even know how to brand yourself, and then once you know the branding and the marketing, you can hire someone else to basically take care of that for you, so that you don't have to have too much on your plate. So in the beginning, you might have a lot of things to do, but once you make the money, you can start delegating some of these tasks, so that other people can basically take charge of the things that you initially were doing. Reason number 3 why most businesses fail is because the person that starts the business is expecting too much and too little out of themselves. They're expecting too much returns, but they want to put too little into the process. How does that happen? A lot of people, they start a business, they want, they've never made any money from any business at all, and they're expecting the first hit, to make 100,000 in the first month, or 200,000 or 500,000 in the first month, and they just starting off. How about you start the process slowly, learn and discover some of the things that you might not know from the business. Start the process a little bit slower, and do not expect too much growth from the business. It can happen that you can grow from the business. It can happen that you can make a lot of money starting off in the business, but do not expect it so much that you put entirely everything that you have into the business. So if the business fails, or if you're not making so much as you expected, what can you do to bounce back in the business? So think about the things that you can do already to bounce back into the business. Think about the things that you can do already before you start. What are some of the things that you can implement, so that if strategy number one doesn't work, what can you do inside the business so that you can implement things that can help you grow and help you move forward more efficiently? So do not expect too much, but obviously you're gonna put in the work. Expect the worst, or prepare for the worst, but expect the best. Expect the best, but then prepare for the worst. Make sure that you work so that the worst doesn't happen. If worst case scenario happens, what are you going to do? So expect the worst. Expect the best, but prepare for the worst. Be prepared for the worst thing that can happen, and prepare for the worst case scenario, and work so that if the worst case scenario happens, what are you going to do in the business? And the fourth reason why most entrepreneurs fail is because they got into the business for the wrong reasons. They got into the business because, they want to make money, they want to pay their bills, but they're not looking for opportunity to serve their customers. They're not looking for ways to serve their customers. So think about the things that you can do in your business to serve your customers. What can you do to serve your customers? Because your business is there to serve a certain need. Your business is there to serve your customers, not just to pay for your bills. So yes, your business can pay for your bills, but if you get into the business just to pay for the bills, you're always going to be looking for things that you can do to pay for the bills instead of things to do to look to serve your customers. So keep on thinking about ways or things that you can do in your business to serve your customers. It's not just an opportunity to make money, but it's an opportunity to solve a certain problem. So what problems can you do, or what problems can you solve in the business so that your customers are not experiencing those issues themselves? So do not get into a business to just make money, but get into the business to solve a certain problem that your customers are having. The fifth reason why most businesses are failing is because of indecision and doubt. They're not able to make decisions because they want to connect the dots. They want to connect the dots looking forward. So Steve Jobs says, you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking back. And what does that mean? That means that you cannot figure it out looking forward. You can only figure how it happened looking back. Most millionaires are not sure, or were not sure when they are starting the process how they were going to become millionaires. They only knew, or they only told themselves that they will become millionaires, but they never knew the whole staircase. They never knew how it's going to happen, how it's going to plan out. Even you in your company, you might not know how you're going to become a millionaire, but you cannot know before you start the process. The most important thing is to start the process and then figure out what you're doing right, and then learn from that and discover other things that you have to learn in order for you to grow and develop in your business. You cannot grow and develop while you're sitting back and looking at, okay, this is how I'm gonna go. You can only do it once you've started the process, looking back and saying, this is what I've done wrong and this is how I fixed it. You're gonna make mistakes, but you cannot make and solve your mistakes before you start the process. You have to start the process first before you basically become successful. And also, without an indecision, you have to know that you can basically start working on your freedom while you are having safety and security. Your job can offer you the safety and security, but when you are looking for freedom, that's where something that you'll be doing on the side will come in. That's where your company will come in. That's where your whatever skill that you're working in will come in. So while you're having that safety, while you're having that security of the paycheck, how can you start working on something that's going to give you freedom? Start working on something that's going to give you freedom while you're having a job, because that level of safety and security that the company provides where you can make mistakes in the company, but and you're still having money at the end of the month. That money you can put it into your company and start working while you're working in the company that you're already working in. And you have to tell yourself that things will work out, things will be okay, and things are working out for the better or the greater good of everything, So make sure that, for you to eliminate that indecision and doubt, you have to work on your freedom while you were having some certain level of safety. And there's some people that are going to be starting businesses when they don't have freedom, when they don't have safety and security. How can you work on that freedom even if you don't have that safety? If you don't have that safety, who can you partner with who can basically provide that safety and security that can basically help you grow your business? Who can you work with? Who can you partner with? Who can you collaborate with, so that there's more safety in with you or in the business, and then you can go with working on your freedom. Yeah. So number 6 reason why most people are quitting their jobs is because of the fact that they become separated, or the fear of separation. That happens a lot of times, where someone gets into a business and they basically get separated, they get isolated from their friends, they get isolated from their relatives, they get isolated from families and peers. My brother, my sister, it doesn't have to happen like that. You don't have to be isolated from everyone that you're already working with now. You don't have to be isolated with everyone that's your friend. You don't have to be isolated and feel lonely, because the process of you working on your company, on working on yourself, doesn't have to be a lonely process. You can actually work on yourself, but don't be isolated from everyone. Don't be isolated from what you already know that's working for you. If you have friends, you can still go out with your friends, you can still go out with your family members, you can still go out and chill, you can still do the things outside the business. You don't have to just work on the business. You can work on other things while you're working on your financial future. So do not become separated, do not become isolated. Still work. How can you basically still work with other people that you have been working around, so that you don't become lonely, you don't miss out on everything that's happening around you. So try to not miss out of too much of the things that you're already doing before you started the business. The 7th reason why most businesses fail is because of money problems. They they got into debt a lot. They got into debt a lot, or they basically made a lot of debt to basically service the business, and the business keeps on draining them. It keeps on taking out so much from them. How can you stop that? Because you have to ask yourself, how did you get yourself into too much debt, and how can you get yourself out of the debt, and start working on a plan to basically get out of the debt that you basically got yourself into. If you dug yourself in a hole, how can you get yourself out of the hole? Start working on a plan to basically get out of the hole, because most people are getting into business and they're digging themselves deeper and deeper and deeper into the debt, because they're thinking that the business is going to get them out eventually, and they get a burnout. They get, they don't enjoy the process, because all they're doing is basically servicing debt. All the business is doing is servicing the debt, and they're not making any money, and they end up suffocating themselves into debt, and the business also ends up suffocating also, because of the fact that they keep on servicing everything that they're doing is only servicing debt. So do not suffocate yourself into debt, and also do not suffocate the business into debt. How can you get yourself out of debt, and how can you solve some of the money problems that you are already having? Because if you drain the business also, a lot of people having this money problem where they're basically taking too much money out of the business, and they're draining the business, they're suffocating the business is not able to survive, because every single month the money that comes in, they spend it on other things, and they're not spending on their marketing, they're not spending on their branding, they're not spending on office space, they're not spending on getting more clients, or they're not spending on taking care of the clients that they're already having. They're not spending on the people that are already working for the business. So don't do that. Make sure that you spend on those things. Spend on marketing, spend on your team, spend on office space, spend on your marketing, your Facebook, however way that you're marketing. How do you basically keep your clients? Make sure that you keep on spending on that. If you're spending on the business will not suffocate. So do not suffocate the business. Make sure that you are always constantly thinking of ways that can help you not to overspend on yourself, using the business as an expense for that. So these are 7 reasons why most businesses fail. If you like this, please comment with a heart, or a like button, or a thumbs up on the comment section. Thank you so much for viewing this. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.